Hello, my lovely people, and welcome to Owen's Mind. And today I would like to give you my thoughts on the new Netflix movie El Camino. So, El Camino, subtitled A Breaking Bad Movie, takes place in the Breaking Bad universe, and it picks up immediately after the end of season 5, the season finale of Breaking Bad. So, no spoilers for this movie as always, but there is going to be a few little bits mentioned about Breaking Bad, which is finished airing 4 years ago. So again, if you've not caught up on it, I do apologise, but I need to mention that in order to talk about the movie. But no spoilers for the movie. So it's written and directed by Vince Gilligan, who created Breaking Bad, so it's got that pedigree. And Aaron Paul returns as Jesse Pinkman, and the movie essentially is about his actions and his journey following the end of the events at the end of the Breaking Bad TV series, the end of season 5. So, getting straight into it, the movie itself it looks beautiful. It's shot really well. It's shot very much like a TV series, which is nice because it kind of ties it in. It feels like a continuation of the series. It doesn't feel like, this was a series and now this is a movie and it's all glossy and it feels in that same universe. So it's a nice little tie-in. We follow Jesse primarily for the entire movie. It is centered entirely around him. An issue I have with the movie is that it is 2 hours long, but there's maybe 40 minutes of it, just 40 minutes, which actually follows him at the end, following the events of the TV show. The remaining part is all flashbacks. We get so many flashbacks in this movie, and it does relate to actions he's taking in the movie. Post his release at the end of Breaking Bad, but you don't feel like you're getting much new material, although all of it is new material. It's not flashbacks we've seen before or anything like that. There is so much of it which takes place back when the series was airing, and events within there, and it just kind of fills in gaps and little things that we weren't aware of, that we don't actually get much of a movie going forward, if that makes sense. Performance-wise, everyone's great. Aaron Paul is great, although, again, the story itself, it lacks the punch that a lot of the TV show episodes had. There was so many moments in that show where Jesse was just put through the ringer, and the performance that Paul gave was fantastic because he really had to sell it. And this movie doesn't get a moment like that, or any moments like that. In fact, none of the characters do, really. It's a very slowly paced movie, and I hate to say it, but it's in parts it's dull, it drags, and to say that so little of it actually takes place following the events when we want to know what happens next. We want to know, does he evade the police? Does he get away? And it just plods along. Like I say, it's shot well. We get a lot of the flashbacks contain a lot of characters from the show. We do pick up with some of the characters post-show. So you've seen it in the trailers. So Badger and Skinny Pete are back. We get a fantastic turn from Robert Forster, who tragically passed away on Friday. And watching this movie, you'll really see that he is a great loss to the industry because his performance is brilliant. Again, I can't fault the performances. They're very good, but the material they have, it just feels like a filler episode of the show almost. There's no spectacle to it. And admittedly, in the show, it doesn't have to be, because you've got that long, deliberate storytelling arc, and it feels like Gilligan wrote this as though there was going to be more to come, and this was just kind of a setup. Although it does have a conclusion, it does kind of finish to a point. But there's a lot of talk about, such as Bryan Cranston's Walter White. Do we learn his fate in this movie? Yes, you learn his fate in this movie, one way or the other, and I'm not going to spoil it, I'm not going to say. There was obviously, there was a lot of talk at the end of the show, was Jesse going to seek out Brock, the child who essentially kept him captive, because it was the threat to his life that kept him obedient with the neo-Nazis. Again, you find out what happens there, and to me, not particularly satisfying. I won't spoil it again, but it's just so frustrating because I so wanted this to be a great movie. and it had all the potential, and it had all the pedigree, it had everybody coming back, and Breaking Bad was such a lauded series that this does feel a little flat to me. Like I say, in moments it does drag, and there is a few moments of tension, but nothing that meets any of the episodes of the actual show which inspired it. Again, a lot of the flashbacks, they seem to check in with characters just to kind of go, hey, remember you love this character? Here's 2 minutes with them. And then it's gone. And yet there's still questions unanswered. The questions they do answer, they're not in a really satisfying way for me. So yeah, I was disappointed by the movie. Performances are great. It looks great. It's shot great. The script is good. It's it's acted really well. Everyone does great. Like I say, Forster in particular. Aaron Paul is brilliant. It's a little bit telling because you look at the continuity is a little bit off, because you look at Paul now and he looks very different from what he did then. So when it kind of flashes back, we see him as he looks now, and we know from the show, because it relates directly to scenes and kind of it fits in between episodes, we know that he didn't look like that, which is just, that's the way it's going to be, because it was 4 years ago, people change, but it's a little jarring. And again, so much of it is told in the past, and I personally want to see it going forward. I want to see what becomes of it, and you get maybe less than half of the movie is actually the events post the show. Everything else is a flashback to inform you of little details, which do get brought back up. So the flashbacks tend to relate to something which is going in the kind of onwards narrative. But it doesn't feel like enough for me. It does feel like a filler episode of the show where we were going to get something great in a lead up, or it was going to set up something. It was a muted episode which then tied into a bigger storyline further down the line. And it just kind of felt like that to me. So I'm sorry, guys. It's nice to catch up with the characters again. It's Netflix. If you've got Netflix, you're not going to lose anything by watching it. It's 2 hours. For me, I can't recommend it. It's not a great movie for me. So those are my quick thoughts on El Camino, guys. If you've seen it, let me know what you think in the comments, and I will speak to you guys next time. Bye-bye.